Here we'll cover the operation of the Hydronic Aqua System by using the touchscreen display. All basic functions for day-to-day use are available through the touchscreen display. The display will turn off after 60 seconds of no interaction. Touching the screen will turn it back on. If the power supply in the vehicle is interrupted, for example, the battery is disconnected, the system's controller retains all basic settings, including date and time, thanks to an onboard battery. Some common buttons you'll see throughout the section that will appear in several screens are the following: Settings menu, Main screen, Next and Previous menu screen, Back to previous menu level. Knowing the color of buttons is also important. Dark gray means the function is currently off. Blue means it is on. Light gray means it is currently not available, which you may see when the system is off. A similar color pattern is used in dark mode, in case your software version already has this capability. Let's start with the main screen. This is the power indicator. A red LED flashes when the touchscreen display is powered. This is the system activation button, where you can press to turn it on or off. The system must be on in order to enable heating, access diagnostic functions, or allow turning on any scheduled air heating. Blue indicates that the system is on, as shown here. If it is gray, it means it is off. Turning off the system will switch off all heating functions. Please note that the proper way to switch off the system is by using the System Activation button. When the system is switched off, it will, in most cases, go through a cooldown cycle in which some components, like the coolant pump, will stay on for a few more minutes before turning off automatically to guarantee a proper and safe cooldown. Removing electrical power from any part of the system while the system is active or during the cooldown cycle can result in overheating, boiling of the coolant, and possibly scalding injuries. Clicking here, you can access the settings menu, which will go in details in a few minutes. Here is the air temperature setting, which displays the current air temperature target set point. Let's press on it to change it. This is the screen that will be shown, where you can see the current interior temperature, the target temperature, and buttons up and down to allow you to change the target temperature. Pressing the home button will take us back to the main screen. Let's continue. This is the fan speed settings, which displays the current fan speed from off to low, medium, and high based on the amount of field bars, so in this case showing medium speed. It also shows the current setting, which can be low, medium, high, or also, as seen here, and which can be changed by pressing this button. The auto setting will automatically adjust the fan speed based on the difference between the current and target temperatures. To activate or deactivate air heating, you can use this button. The system must be on in order to do so. Air heating may be automatically switched on or off if schedule has been enabled, or turn off if fuel saving mode is enabled. To activate or deactivate water heating, you can use this button. It is also required for the system to be on in order to do so. Water heating may be automatically switched off if the time limit option has been enabled. General system information can be accessed by pressing this button. Let's do it. Here you can see what's the current values of interior air temperature, target air temperature set point, coolant temperature, date and time, heating system status, active heat source currently running, and hydronic S3 coolant heater status. In case of an active fault code on the hydronic S3 heater, this last field will show a high-level description of the fault. We'll see later how to read and delete fault codes on another screen. Lastly, on the right you can see the system status at a glance. Let's go over from top to bottom on what it means if a symbol is illuminated. If you see this icon, it means there is an active fault code on the hydronic S3 heater. This says that the air heating schedule is active, so the air heating function will turn on or off according to the enable set times. The air heating will only turn on if the system is on, as shown by the System Activation button. This means the hydronic S3 fuel-operated heater is currently selected as a heat source and will be used whenever air or water heating is active. On this case, the 120 volts AC electric heater is currently selected as a heat source and will be used whenever air or water heating is active. Last, this shows that the system coolant is at operating temperature. Now, let's get inside the settings menu to see the options available. The first page that appears on the settings menu is the general menu, and we'll see soon that going to the right, we have the HS3 coolant heater menu. The first option in the general menu is heat source. Let's click on it. This is the screen that is shown. Here you can toggle on or off the heat source you want to use whenever heating is required, either a fuel operated coolant heater, which is the Hydronic S3 heater, or the electric 120 volts AC heating element. You can select one, the other, or both. The selection made here will also be shown on the system status indicator on the main screen that we've just seen. When the electric heating is in operation, the in-series thermostat installed in the coolant reservoir will regulate the coolant temperature at a lower level than the operating temperature of the fuel power coolant heater. So when both heat sources are selected, the electric element will not be active once the coolant temperature becomes sufficiently high. The intended usage of the electric element is in situations where the heating requirements are low and when access to an electrical grid is available. It may not have sufficient capacity to maintain a comfortable room temperature in colder outside temperatures, or supply sufficient quantities of heated water. In those cases, use the fuel power coolant heater is advised, which is really the primary heat source of the hydronic aqua system. Let's click the up arrow to go back to the previous menu. Next is the air heating schedule. On this screen, you can see on the bottom the currently set start and stop times, as well as the current time. These two buttons allow you to activate and deactivate the schedule start and stop. This can be controlled independently. If you click on the middle button, we can change the start and stop times. Let's do it. This is the screen that allows you to change these times. You can use the up and down arrows, and then you must click on the set buttons to save the changed values. Here is the air heating options. This menu allows you to enable or disable the fuel saving mode and modify its delay. If enabled, the fuel saving mode will turn off the coolant heater if the air temperature is above the set point for a time period longer than the delay shown on the screen. Next is the water heating options. This screen allows you to turn on, off, and set a maximum water heating time limit, after which the water heating will be switched off automatically. This is useful to save fuel or energy if you only use water heating for short periods of time. Next, we have the sensor settings. This allows you to set an offset value for your air temperature sensor. The Set Offset button must be pressed to confirm any offset value change. After a short delay, the current sensor reading will be changed to account for the offset selected. This option might be used if, on average, the temperature of where the temperature sensor is located is different, so colder or hotter, from where the user is most interested in, usually where they will spend most of the time. To use this option, you must calibrate by measuring temperatures. So unless you're going to do it, I would advise you not changing this offset value. The display settings is where you can change screen brightness, temperature unit between Celsius and Fahrenheit, time format between 12 and 24 hours, and date. This screen has a different layout compared to the other screens, and we won't go in details here. So please consult the operation manual if you require to change any of those. Last on the general menu is System Details. Here you can see the software version and find the contact details of our technical support team. Now let's click the forward arrow to see some more options. This is the Hydronic S3 coolant heater menu. It is only available when the system is on and the system status is on standby. The first button is fault codes. Here you can click to read the Hydronic S3 coolant fault codes. It will take a few seconds for them to be loaded and a pop-up will display an acknowledgement. The last 10 unique fault codes are shown on this list, along with their status of active or stored code. Active means the code has been detected in the current activation cycle. If there is an active fault code, the red triangle with an exclamation point will be shown on the system status indicators on the main screen. Switching the Hydronic S3 off and on can make an active fault code become stored. Consult the Hydronic S3 repair manual for further information on different fault codes. You can also clear the fault codes using this button. It will take a few seconds and acknowledgement will be shown. Next is the operating counters, which shows some operating counters of the Hydronic S3 coolant heater, such as time at different output levels and total operating time. Last of all, we have the prime fuel line options. This screen can be used to prime the fuel lines of the Hydronic S3 without starting the heater. Use low values of frequency and duration when priming. A high frequency will increase the flow rate. Watch the transparent fuel lines being primed and stop priming as soon as fuel reaches the heater. Repeat the process if required until lines are primed. Pay attention to not overprime, since it can lead to a flooded heater and ignition issues when starting the heater, or fuel leaking out of the exhaust, creating a fire hazard. This is the end of the operation section. Please consult the operation manual for further details or clarifications. Thanks for watching, and until next time.